this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a very good day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And I want to thank everybody for your congratulations for my 10,000 subscriber milestone. That was very nice of you, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Well, someone asked me to talk about the Chicago teen takeover. My take on this might not be what you would expect because I don't place all of the blame on the teenagers. And I looked into the story. The teenagers in Chicago, they said it was about 100, but if they said it was 100, it was at least 200. They had a takeover, and I think this was social media driven, where they just took to the streets last Saturday night. And they were overturning cars, and what it says is a crowd of more than 100 rowdy teenagers turned violent in downtown Chicago on Saturday night as dozens torched and smashed cars while blaring music in a teen trend that left two with gunshot wounds. Shocking footage showed some teenagers jumping on top of a bus while others started a massive brawl after descending on Millennium Park and attempting to breach barricades. Police said most of the charges were of reckless conduct, but a 16-year-old boy was charged with unlawful use of a weapon, and a firearm was recovered. An adult and a juvenile were also charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Cars were left vandalized near East Washington Street in the Windy City, including a Tesla worth about $120,000. That's what the news article said, and this is my commentary. This was a case of teenagers being out of control, but unfortunately, this is what they see. This was not as bad as how those college students were behaving in South Beach during spring break. These children are acting out what they see. And what is also unfortunate is that these children don't have good role models, and these children live in a society where they are afraid. They're afraid to go to school. They're afraid to walk down the street. They're afraid to go to the grocery store. They can be at home in what they think is the safety of their bedroom and end up getting shot to death. There's nowhere they can go, I don't think, that they can feel safe. So they came out in the wide open space and just acted out. And as bad as it wasn't as bad as it could have been because they weren't having a shootout like some of these grown folks are doing. So I'm not excusing what they're doing, but I'm just saying that in the society that they live in, there are not enough grown people setting a good enough example for them to do better. Everything in our society is connected. Our past and our present are connected. America has not dealt with basic problems that should have been dealt with years ago. We're still dealing with the problem of racism. We're still dealing with the problem of inequality among races of people, among groups of people. These children see that. And now the history is coming out that's been hidden for so long. And it is troubling. Our history is troubling. And then you've got this group on this side talking about one thing and that group on the other side talking about something else. There is no continuity among Americans that says we are Americans. This is what binds us, and these are our common goals. We don't see any of that. And we also don't see that within our own race, especially with black people. We don't have anything that says this is what it means to be a black American, and this is how we behave. When people think about a black American, they pretty much think about what they saw. Those kids running amok in the streets. They don't see responsibility. They don't see maturity. We have it as individuals, but we don't have it as a group. And see, that's what our children see. They don't even know what we stand for as a racial group in America. They don't know. There is no sense of community in America where all of Americans will come together and get on board with one thing that we all believe in, regardless to everything else. We don't have that. We have a very large society. We have a large country, we have a lot of people, and everybody believes something different. This is very confusing to children. The children of America are actually doing about as well as you could expect them to do, given the leadership. Now let's look at leadership on the national level. Fox News, which is supposed to be a reputable news outlet, just lost a lawsuit to Dominion Voting Systems. They install voting machines all over America. Fox News perpetuated the lie that those machines were rigged in favor of the Democrats in the last election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Fox News has been ordered by the court to pay them $787 million, almost $1 billion, for telling lies about the last election, trying to say somebody won who didn't win, and going around perpetrating a lie that the election was stolen because he couldn't accept the fact that he had lost. Now you got a person who was the president of the United States telling lies, and then you have a reputable or a supposed to be reputable news outlet perpetuating that lie. And you've got a whole host of people, mostly white Americans, and they are the majority in America. Many of them believe it. Some of them believe so strongly in that lie that the election had been stolen from Donald Trump that they stormed the United States Capitol building on January 6th of 2021, threatened lawmakers, vandalized the building, including defecating all over the place, smearing defecation all over the place, to the point that police officers had to use deadly force against some of them. They even went as far as to storm the vice president's office looking for the vice president, they said, to hang. So the behavior that they exhibited, these were grown people, on January 6th is much, 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 much worse than what those kids did in the park last Saturday. And it doesn't end there. To this day, they're trying to convince themselves that somebody that actually lost the election won. You don't have to like somebody to admit they beat you in an election or any kind of race. But this is the society we live in. If I don't win, you cheated. And this is what these children see too. And let's look at leadership on the state level. Many of these states are trying to repeal and turn back all of the gains that black people have made in America, or they're trying to make it harder for you to exercise your rights as an American citizen. So that's what they see on the state level. Then on the local level, all they see is infighting, people getting fired or having to leave office because of misconduct and fraudulent behavior. And then in their homes, what do they see? What do they see? What do these children see in their homes? Many of their fathers are incarcerated in jail. Many of their mothers are struggling to make ends meet. And we have not focused as a group. Too many children and too many black children live in homes that are dysfunctional. And I'm not just speaking about the educational or the financial level of the parents. I'm just talking about cases where parents don't even agree on child rearing tactics. These children see abuse in their homes. They see physical abuse, they see drug abuse, they see emotional and verbal abuse in their homes. They see this. All of the children see this. But I'm just talking to the black audience. And even with all of that, there were more children in Chicago that were not out there wilding out in the streets than there were out there wilding out in the streets. The mayor of Chicago has taken a stand. He said those children need protection, not punishment. I agree with that. I know that what they did was wrong, and I'm not excusing them. But given the society that they live in, that the grown people have not put any kind of safety measures in place so these children feel safe when they walk out the door, these children are traumatized. America needs to spend some time and resources focusing on the problems of the next generation, because the health of the country depends on it. You just got a bunch of old folks that don't ever want to move. They won't take their knowledge and pass it on to the next generation because they're so desperate to hold on to power themselves. So these children are in crisis, is what I'm trying to say. So I applaud the children of Chicago that were not in the streets. But the ones that are in the streets are still the children who need direction and they need supervision. And it's just an indication that they're not getting that. The fact that they're out in the streets, vandalizing people's cars, fighting, jumping on top of buses, and doing all sorts of things. And they weren't just black kids either. Now, when the cameras swoop in, they're going to try to get the shot of the black kid doing something wrong. We have seen when these riots take place and folks are vandalizing stores and things, we see everybody coming out of those stores stealing. Everybody trying to get a flat screen TV and a washing machine and anything they can get out of the store, not just black people. But I'm saying this is an indication of what's going on in the American society. Chicago has been a crime-ridden place for a long time. And it seems like they don't know how to get a handle on it. They just fire one police chief and hire another one and nothing changes. So they have to change those homes, but they also got to change the leadership downtown Chicago. They need somebody who actually knows how to lead. I contend that part of the problem in Chicago with crime is that I don't see how you can have a city that size with a police force that large and have that much crime without the police not being complicit in some of that stuff. Because if you got that many police officers and you got this much crime and you can't stop anything from happening, there's something wrong with your police force, in my opinion. But we're in a society where so much focus is on grown people behaving like children that when children behave like children, we all get upset. And I do not excuse them. I think parents have to take charge of their children, and I think the church should speak to the issues of the society. But now people don't even go to church anymore. So if you don't believe in church, you don't trust the school system, you don't trust the authorities to run the city properly, and then you have a chaotic home, what do you expect from the children? What are they supposed to do? So what is the solution to that? In a city like Chicago, where they have so many resources, they won't even create safety zones for children. If they do, I want to know about it. There's not enough instruction for these children. There's not enough outlets for these children. There's not enough areas where these children can go in a safe zone and be free to be children. So they go out in the wide open space in Chicago and they act out. Everywhere they go, grown people are bickering and acting like children. So finally, when the children act like children, it's a big story. So anyway, I think that America has to grow up. Not just black America. America needs to grow up. And we need to decide if we're going to be a civilized society or not. And it seems like some people have already decided they're not going to be civilized. But that's just because we have a government that doesn't live up to what it claims to be. I contend that America is still in its infancy. America is still a baby. It claims to be, in the Constitution, a government for the people, of the people, by the people. But we haven't really seen that. America favors one group of people, and everybody else has to scramble for their rights, for justice, and for resources, and everything else. But if you claim to be a government for the people, of the people, by the people, then you need to serve all of the people. And it could be done if there wasn't so much greed and selfishness in high places. But as far as the children in Chicago, I wish them the best. And I hope that this was a wake-up call for the leadership, the families, and the government of that city, that we have to do something. We have to do something to minister to these children and stop focusing so much on grown people and their dysfunction. Now, that's what I think about this, y'all. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a wonderful day.